All right, how is everybody? How y'all doing? Yeah, cool. Let's actually start. Allow your feet to touch, and then bring your head top up to the highest point. Relax your shoulders, relax your tailbone, and breathing, bring the hands together in the center. And then allow the palms to rest on each other so that the shoulders can open, the elbows and wrists can relax. And then feel like that circle, this circular shape, that you can set the whole thing down. So if it's up here, there's too much tension. Just let everything relax. And then go through the body and make some micro adjustments. This is a internal fine-tuning yoga. So make sure the head top is going all the way up and the brow is relaxed. Open the vision to see, open your nostrils sideways. Connect the tongue to the upper palate and then activate the corners of the mouth. Half smile is the minimum. Your jaw should be relaxed. Line up your ears with your shoulders, which means to push your head top up and back. Shoulders are rolled back and relaxed. And we say in the Kung Fu with the Tai Chi, the chest is hollow. So that means instead of going up, it's relaxed so that the chi coming down the front when the tongue is connected to the upper palate can travel to the dantian. We're using the center to support. It's lightly engaging the abs, not flexed. The tailbone is hiding. The insides of the hips are folding. The knees have a slight bend in them. They're relaxed so that we don't have this straight, completely straight posture. It's so that it's sinking. Feel that your ankles are expanding so that there's power in the ankles, and then activate your whole foot. So using one or more, all of your toes, pull your heel forward so that your foot becomes taller inside your shoe. It looks like there may be a focus issue, something. All right, let's see if that fixes things. And then relax, take a deep breath. We're gonna start with some Qigong, just some breathing. So take your time, go at your own pace, and we're gonna practice the same breathing strategy that we practiced yesterday. If you were in yesterday morning's class, that class did not get recorded, thanks to the wonderful Zoom technology. If you were attending the class, I hope you enjoyed it because it's lost to the mists of time and ether. This one hopefully is recording, but the same strategy for the breathing. On the inhale, I want you to lift the pelvic floor and engage your abs. And on the exhale, let everything relax. Just long, relaxed breathing. You can make it a stretch, reaching all the way out to the sides.
Do you have the right screen as the primary screen?
No. And then while we're breathing, the internal, what I want you to focus on is the shape that goes from the front all the way down back to the tailbone. So if you imagine the shape of the letter J, keep working, keep breathing. The shape of a J is something like this. So this shape that goes from the sternum, we want to lock all of this going all the way down and back to the tailbone. So this is where the base of the J is, coming all the way back up and around this way. So on the inhale, we're making the shape of the letter J smaller by contracting everything to the center, to the dantian. And then on the exhale, it's fully relaxed. And use your whole body to breathe. In one of his books, Chen Menqing would say, for the martial art, the hand is not the hand. He says, the whole body becomes the hand. And my teacher, Gene, would say your lungs are not the lung or the lungs. He says your whole body is the lung. So when you're breathing, you can actually control your skin. You can open and close the pores of your skin with your mind. So you can use your whole body to breathe. When you lock that center shape, lifting the pelvic floor like a sponge, pulling in oxygen from all sides. And then on the exhale, it's just completely relaxed. Allow the oxygen to soak into the sponge, and then like a suction into the center, and then letting everything relax. Do 2 more wherever you're at. Grip your big toe into the ground, pushing down as you push up. And then when you finish, bring your feet back to the center. Bring your hands back to the center. And then instead of trying to do some type of calibration by using your mind, simply move your mind into the center, into your dantian, into the navel. And you'll feel your body line up. The hips should become level. The shoulders should become level. Pushing up through the head top. Grip the ground. Relax. So yesterday morning, we were working on a posture, Jinji Duli. And I like to work on more of that. By the way, yeah, if you have questions, you can, feel free to unmute yourself. I think you guys should have the ability to do that. Let's do a little bit more of that this morning and work on the basic Tai Chi step, which is the X step. So for this one, we have a circle as if you're drawing a Tai Chi symbol right in the front. So you make the circle, one hand rests at the base. So after you make the circular shape, one hand rests, the other hand scooping. The palm is leading the whole time. So when I draw this hand is leading with the palm the whole time, making the S shape. This causes us to turn the forearm in the correct way. So if one hand rests, the other hand, the palm, as if like you have a wash rag or some type of sponge and you like to push along the surface in that direction, drawing the S with Laogong, this point on the center of the palm. The reason is when we're controlling the opponent, we're actually controlling the elbow this way. So we want to be steering it as such. So one hand rests at the base, the other hand leading.
So Brian, that was partly my question. Is there a specific martial arts purpose to Jinji Duli?
Yes, this is, if you remember, this is if somebody's grabbing forward this way, right? Is we can scoop between the arms, go around them, connect to one, and this one controls the elbow reaching forward this way, right? So if I have an opponent this in front, I want to be able to open their arms, control, and press forward, right, with this kind of movement. And so the extended, by the way, the most basic, what we're working on right now is the most basic. We can simply do this. If we're standing, even from Tai Chi Harmony, if we just simply raise one side, this is Jinji Duli, this is effective for the Tai Chi posture, and we can use it for whatever. But then we can make this circular shape with the yin and yang like we had talked about. That's sort of level 2. And then the next level is once we have that, if we have that standing power, that balance that has control, we should be able to make the power. So after we do the scoop and the turn and we get to this point, the next one is being able to push and kick, right? By having this sort of third stage, right? But in the beginning, it's just a practice. It's just a challenge to balance on the leg without shifting. We want to be able to sink and shift, and have this other foot free to make power and be flexible to move around without losing our balance, something like that. So Jinji Duli, circle coming up from the center, drawing 2 half circles. One hand rests at the bottom, the other hand scooping with the palm. Try the other side. Scoop the S shape. And so we can also turn the torso left and right, and it follows the pattern. One hand pressing, leading, and pushing forward. So this is so that we're using, because remember, if we just use the arms, it's even if you have a strong muscle, something, it's still just an arm. But if we use the whole center, remember we have the shape, and we see this circular shape happen in this Tai Chi harmony. So if I want to make Jinji Duli powerful, this one, if I just use my arm, it's no good. So I have to use my torso for the power to do something, to turn. Otherwise, arm is weak. At this point, the exercise we're doing, the opponent is crossed up. We cross their arms, so we only need to use a little bit of power. We shouldn't really need to do this kind of extended thing, right? So let's practice balancing by doing the basic X step. And so for Charlotte, if you're studying the Sun style form, we have an exercise where we do this sort of sliding across the ground. And the TC's X stepping exercise contains that same idea. So if we start, pick a place that's in your center, bring the head top up, relax the tailbone, and when you step to the corner, grip the ground and let the other side float. When you return, grip the ground again, stepping, step forward. This side is sinking, the other side is floating. And step. And then to the forward. Balance. And then return. Rear right. And then return. Let's do something else before we do this. Let's actually move around a little bit. We haven't done any stretching today, this evening, but let's do this. We have one exercise that we do, which is good for turning the waist, which is this one. So if you practice this one, try not to let your upper body move around too much. Don't let it wobble like this. If you see, you can make the center line very, very strong, very stable, and allow your lower body, it's not even moving. So the hips are facing forward the whole time. So let your collarbones relax and expand, your shoulder blades. This is good for opening the upper torso, but also keep working. I want you to be using your core. So when you're turning, keep turning, is that you apply the brakes on one side and then you activate the gas and then apply the brakes. So it's accelerating and stopping, but you're using the center to do that. So you're turning so that you have control. And then you can make it more relaxed. So this one has a certain momentum. Let's practice with the X. We're gonna apply the same handwork with the X stepping to the corner. So if we step to the rear corner and we just turn to one direction, stepping back. Right? And then we go back to the center and we step forward. So it goes back, center, forward, back, center, forward. Yeah. And so we're going to repeat this into both corners and going in both directions. But I want you to get the idea, the feeling is if power is coming towards me, right? There's something that's coming towards me. Somebody has something that I'm not interested in. I can step back and turn. And just using this one simple motion of allowing your center to fall back into a place where you know you can catch with a step. So that using gravity to step to that corner is I have an avoid and I have power coming to the hand, right? So this is a very basic idea for obtaining free power. So when we start from the center, we step back, center, forward, and this is where it gets tricky. There's a half turn. And then we step forward, center, back, and then another turn, back, forward, turn, forward, back. Now, we could alternate. We could do it where we don't have the turn in the middle. The reason I'm doing it this way is so that we have opposite hand and foot working together. So when the one foot is going forward, the other hand, and when one foot is stepping backwards, it's an opposite movement. We can have it going the same way, where when I step back with one side, the other side is still forward. This is more like Repulse the Monkey, where the one hand and foot is moving back at the same time and the other foot is forward, like a door, right? We have something like this. But in this case, we have forward, forward. It's opposite power. And that requires the twisting, which is helping to build the dantian. So from the center, we step back, center, forward, turn, forward, back. Another important note is keeping your feet parallel. It may be challenging to see because my camera has a 110-degree field of view, which makes my rectangular carpet look almost like a pyramid, right? Which means my feet, even though right now they're perfectly parallel, they may look like they're out to the side just because of this parallax to my camera. But when we're doing the X-stepping and when we do the Tai Chi form, everything should be lined up as if it's on a grid, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. So control your feet. This is for the exercise. Later, when you're walking around in the world, your feet will be lined up naturally because you practice the correct way. So when you step back, make sure that it's parallel to the sides. And when you step forward, it's the same. So why opposite? In this form, we have shui, which is a punch. And the punch, traditional martial arts punch, is opposite hand and foot. So if I'm moving forward to punch, it's almost like the X-stepping exercise, where this foot is going forward and the other hand is going forward, right? So try a punch. If we're here and we're just standing, step forward with your left foot and punch with your right hand. You can leave the other hand relaxed, or you can put the other hand on top. So everything is moving from the center. The hand has all of the power. The whole body is moving behind that one point. So if I want to hit something, it's as if the whole structure is behind that one point, right? The whole body is doing the one thing. This is the idea of combining all of the parts. So it's not just me punching this way. This is weak. This is only as good as my arm is strong. But instead, my whole body is going to punch. Yeah, you feel it. It looks good, right, Charlotte? You can feel when that's all going as one piece. If you hit something with that, it's going to be powerful. So now the same. Imagine somebody's trying to hand you something you don't like. You're walking down the street and there's lots of people. They have political things. If you step back and turn, right, you have all the power and you can continue to walk without having to touch anything or deal with anything. So now let's go back to balance. We have seen where by stepping back to the corner, using the momentum of gravity falling, sinking, and turning the waist, using the whole body to make power. Let's practice Jinji Doli. By the way, yesterday in the class, we said this is a golden bird standing on one leg. Usually it's associated with a rooster. In the martial arts in Shingi, they have some chicken stance, which is, right, this kind of nasty. Birds fighting are pretty nasty, but you can make it any kind of bird you want, right? If you'd like to make something that's far more eloquent, you can do that. In the meantime, we're going to practice balancing. So when you step back, grip the ground, and then center, grip the ground again, step forward. Look at something stable. If you look at me and I'm wobbling, use your breathing. Grip, relax your tailbone like you're sitting on your standing foot. Step back to the corner. Center, forward, grip, looking forward. When I step, when I'm moving on the camera, can you see how light my step is, how soft it is? This is the feeling that you want to have. It's kind of, I don't know, like when you're a teenager sneaking around, you know where all the creaky floorboards are, so you have to sort of step to the side when you're walking down the hallway, and then when you turn the door, if you turn slow enough, it doesn't make any noise, your parents don't hear anything. And actually what's really funny, the joke is, we're talking about the parents are actually sitting in there going, oh yeah, okay, they're at the end of the hall now. They're trying to turn the door without making any noise. They hear everything anyway. So this is the feeling when we're doing Tai Chi. We want to have this kind of careful step. In the Tao Te Ching, it says the ancient masters moved as if they were walking across ice, right? Very cautiously, very carefully. So this kind of X-stepping exercise, we can practice strengthening the legs. If I face the camera instead of facing the other way, when I step back, I should be able to check and then transfer the weight. And if I don't like it, return. Or once I've transferred the weight, I should be able to free this other foot and bring it to where I'm going. So this kind of step, when you see people doing Tai Chi, and it looks very stable. Stepping forward. Line everything up to the grid, parallel. And one teacher would say, like you're pouring fluid from one container to the other. So your legs, he would say, like 2 beakers, and you have a heavy fluid like a mercury, and you're pouring it from one leg into the other leg so that it's empty and light. And then as you pour it in, it sinks, and all the chi goes into that leg, and then this one is empty and light. I use the hands sometimes to show where we're going to step next. You can use them for balance, and you can practice whatever you like. Questions, thoughts, comments? Let's do some Tai Chi. Let's do the first and second section since not everybody's here, and we'll just practice at kind of a slow pace, and then see what happens after that. So starting out, I'll start facing the side so that you can get some idea, but we're going to face north, basically that way, whichever way is facing your camera. But in the beginning, so that you can see some internal structure, some internal alignment, I'll face the side. So starting from Tai Chi Harmony, put your mind into the middle, extend your head top, sink your energy into the ground. And then when you open to the side, the elbows staying in front of the body. And so this is like expanding. Imagine opening a parachute or a hot air balloon or a blanket. Keep your back straight, sinking. Keep your chin tucked, and then the hands floating like you're soaking in the hot tub, in the tub, floating in the ocean, in the pool. And then turn from facing forward, we're going to turn to grasp the sparrow's tail. This is a circular catch. Stepping square forward, line the feet up to the grid. Ward off. Breathing deep, shift back. The same lightweight quality in the step. One is heavy, the other one is so lightweight. Stepping forward, ward off. Roll back. Turn your feet. This is a press. Breathing deep, the same long breathing we started the class with. Double press, double push. Horizontal split hands. Diaosho, this is hook. Single whip. Turning 90 degrees to the front, line up your feet. This is T-saw, it's not sheep. Lift hands to upward posture. We're going to turn 90 degrees to the west. This is white crane, opening the wings. Sowe Pipa. Brush knee and press. Square step back. This is a repetition of crane opening the wings. Sowe Pipa. Brush and press. Holding the moon in the chest. Shift back. Everything is moving at the same time. Punch. Ban Lan Shui on the right. Corner. Open. Step and punch at the same time. Still looking forward. Turning the circle, facing the front. Press once, twice. We're going to return tiger to mountain. My feet are parallel. I bring them together, form a T shape or more. Step square, and then palm press to the center. Take a deep breath to roll back. Join your palms, pressing due south. Push. Look left. Take your time. Double press. Horizontal split hands. We have hook, turn back to look at the moon. The right hand covers, spear fist through the center, repulse the monkey, scoop, stepping back, press, breathing, stepping back, press, scoop, stepping back, press. Sherfei is diagonal flying. Heidi Zhang is needle at the bottom of the sea. Keep your neck straight. You don't have to sink super low. San Tong Bei. Press. Turning 180. Block. Punch. Kick. Line up your step. Square. Breathing deep to open. Focus the power, the whole body to the center. Keep your head top up, looking forward. This is Di Bu Hua. Shen Bu Li. Change step. Roll back. Press. push. Turn left, right, double push. Split hands. This is hook. Side whip facing north, parallel to the line. Cloud hands. 1, 2, of 2. Breathing. 3, of 3. Hook. This is corner whip. Gao Tan Ma. Reaching over the tall horse. Turn. Gao Tan Ma number 2. Step back. Catch. Turn. Scoop. Brush. Press to the center. Brush knee, breathe deep, C-step, press. Brush knee, straight step, punch, turning, block, punch, kick, lan, shui, so hua. Kick, da li. Keep your back upright. Bao hu. Da li. Yo, bao hu. Scoop the moon from the ocean. Kick. Brush, and then air form 1, air, step back, kick left, take 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, facing the same, so a step 360, pull right, kick right, block, punch, kick, lan, shui, rufeng, si bi. We're going to close the form. Return tiger to mountain. Block, punch right and left. Bring your left foot to the center. Okay, how do you feel? Let's do, before we do anything else, let's do a little bit of breathing. So take a deep breath. Imagine that you can collect all of the chi from your body and bring it right to the center. But that's a little bit of a philosophical question. Is it one point or is it all points? If you can bring the chi just to one point, isn't that bringing it to all points? I don't know. Before we continue, questions, thoughts, comments, ideas? Yeah.
Forgetting the name, but when we are turning back before you do 7 stars, what is the purpose of this? It's breaking an arm or something like that?
Yeah. So if there's a stick and it's here, this is simply hitting it with both sides, right? Let me see if I can set this thing up, right? If there's a stick here, this is somebody, represents somebody's arm, is this. So we're putting pressure. If their elbow, I don't know if you can see this point, is there, we want to be on either side of the elbow, just like this. If I had a vegetable, imagine you have a carrot and you just did that, it will snap it in half. Well, the elbow, the human elbow, regardless of how the size of it, only requires like 3 to 5 pounds of pressure at the right moment. And so this kind of movement, if we stand with our feet parallel and you relax your tailbone like you're just standing around and you let your elbows touch the side, your rib cage here, and you bring your hands together in the center. This triangle, when you look down, you see a triangular shape, and you turn your palms, you see another triangle that looks this way. That's where your power is. So in the Tai Chi form, our hands should never really be, when you see people doing hook and whip out here, this is, the triangle has now been skewed to here. So we want to try to keep it here. Hook should technically be somewhere in front of the gate, right? Just like cloud hands. We shouldn't be moving outside of this circle.
But doesn't whip go fairly far out?
Sometimes when we're doing the Tai Chi form, we want to show some kind of dynamic. We don't have to do all that. For martial art, it can be in the center. So I want you to feel where the power is. So if you have this triangle and you look down, now imagine there's something in front of you and you want to bring your whole center, like almost like you're opening and closing something this way, and then you're going to cross this, right? Does it make sense? So this is, if somebody's reaching forward, I want to cross this and then I can brush it out of the way and then rolling up underneath it, right? Yeah, so you're essentially, the name for that posture in Mandarin is lift hands to up posture. And so the lifting hands is this lifting this way. If somebody's forearm is in the way, if it's here, if they're reaching in, whatever they're doing, I want to attack this joint the wrong way, right? The way it makes it uncomfortable for them. And if you do it with a little bit of power, this kind of lifting, you have to imagine somebody's arm is here, right? So lift hands, and then the up posture. Yeah, in the third section, this is called step up to 7 stars. But the idea is, once we've disabled that arm, we're gonna lift it out of the way and roll the person away. So if it's here, right, the feeling is like this, right? Is getting inside the person's gait and using this triangular structure to be able to uproot them, right? We have a lot of power, and we don't have to. It doesn't matter if we're lifting weights or something. This structure, this triangle power, is all that we need. Once we've moved the weapon out of the way, we don't have to push. We don't have to push very hard. We can simply like a paint roller rolling underneath it. So let's actually look at where that posture occurs and apply it a couple of times. Because for Tiu, for Joni, we can practice. This is very first section stuff. So after we have roll back, palm press, split, we have hook, single whip. And so from here, we're turning to the north, and this is where the hands, they're free floating. Right, so if I have hook and whip, if you watch this, just let them hit this way. See how much power is generated. It's a free power, right? So now if you skew that, if you let them, instead of letting them hit, let them cross. And then imagine you put something in between there. This is a white waxwood stick. So it's very sturdy, it's very flexible. But the idea is this crossing power, if you can get it with your hands, right? This one isn't gonna break. But if we had a regular wooden dowel that's not waxwood, you may break it, right? This is, if you apply that kind of pressure, just from here, right? We have hook and whip, and you just let that fall. That pressure on somebody's elbow, if it doesn't break it, will definitely get their attention. They will have an injury. There's no question about it. So remember, we said free power. We're interested in free power. We don't want to have to do a lot of work to make the power. So when I step back, my gravity moving back and my waist turn creates this kind of power. The same thing, if I go from hook and whip and the power is coming this way, when I turn, it's free, right? So now imagine the power is coming for my camera, I'm gonna use this chair, right? Maybe I should use a different stick. But the idea is the power's here. And if I'm doing hook and whip and something is coming to my center, right? It's going to hit here. Instead of trying to do all this fancy business, I'm simply gonna allow the arms to collapse onto that thing, right? So that it breaks here. And then once I do that, I can roll it out of the way to press. That's what this thing is, right? So let's look at it back into the form. Coming out of hook and whip, I'll face this direction and turn towards the camera so you can see. So we have hook, and then I have single whip. And if the power is coming this way, I'm gonna turn this foot 90 degrees, allow my arms to fold to the center. It looks like this. In some Yang style schools, they call this play the guitar, right? As if you have a guitar and you're holding the neck of the guitar and the base of it here, right? Once that's done, this is like a brushing to clear the arm out of the way and then stepping forward and rolling up to this shape. And then my power, I'm gonna turn towards the camera for the next one. For crane, I'm gonna block and have crane, something like that. Looks like my camera has a focus issue. Okay, so let's repeat that a couple of times. If I'm facing this way and I have hook and then I turn for single whip, I'm facing the north. We have this split, brush, roll up, and turn. So now I'll turn this way. I'm gonna turn a couple of different directions. If I have hook, and then I turn to the west, and I do single whip, and now I'm gonna turn back to the north, line up my feet, split, brush, roll up, and then turn again. So now if I face my camera, I'll turn to the side. If I have hook, and then when I turn, I have single whip, power's coming from the side, turn to line up my feet, split, brush, everything's on the center line, and then I'm going to turn my power to the side. So now if I'm facing this direction, same posture, you can practice in any direction, right? As I have hook, and I turn this way, I'm going to turn, split, brush, roll up, turn, crane. More clear? Yeah, good, okay, feels good. Let's actually do just a little bit of review. The same thing, let's do the same thing with the first number of postures. We have roll back, press, push, look left, glance right, double push, split, hook, and whip. And then we'll return to roll back. We'll just turn just the same thing that we did in 4 directions. This is good review for advanced people and good practice for beginning people. And then if you have questions afterwards. So let's actually start facing in this direction. And if I step back shoulder width wide and shoulder width deep, I'm going to start a roll back. And turn. And then remember the whole circle is turning with your spine, pressing forward, shifting forward. This is push. Look left, glance right, double press. Split takes us 90 degrees. We have hook, single whip. So then if you go back to just standing and we initiate a roll back, turning my feet, press, push, look left, glance right, double push, horizontal, split hands, hook, single whip, and then relax, going into roll back, turning. Press, Very good. Left, relax your shoulders. Breathing deep, gather the power for double push. Split. Hook. Single whip. Let's go back to something. I think we started working on this. I think we did it a few times yesterday. We might have worked on it the week before as well. The transition from 90 degrees we have something that some of TC students used to call it a rock step. I don't know if it has an official name in Mandarin, but the idea for horizontal split hands is I'm turning 90 every time. It's very basic, but let's analyze so that we have something to work with. So the idea is if power is coming, and when power is coming, we want to sort of follow the power. So if we're in front of the power, we want to be behind the power so that we can not have to be in front of it. So horizontal split hands is if power is coming in this direction, I want to step out of the way and help it continue in its direction, right? Whether I step to one side or the other to move this, if this power is coming in this direction, I can simply send it going on its way, right? So the same thing, if somebody is reaching in, their power is reaching this way. As that power comes towards me, I can connect to it. And now suddenly I'm behind the power throwing it, right? So we see as the power comes in, we wait for the timing. This is the martial art. We have avoid, make contact, and then advance. So let's practice this, and we'll combine it with the footwork. So the same, we step shoulder width wide and shoulder width deep. And then we turn the foot. And then once that foot is turned 90 degrees, we can stand on it. And this other foot, again, is light and it returns back to the center. So the same, I step back, avoid. Everything is still on the grid. And then I'm going to turn this foot 90, so I have this square. And once it's been turned, this other foot can return to the center. So stepping back, turn 90, center. So we step back, and you use the heel as a bit of a pivot. If your hips are level and relaxed, you feel the heel. You can almost dig your heel in a little bit and use it to help balance the weight during the transfer. My teacher translated this in English to rock step. So now let's combine the waist turn. We said the real power, the arms, if I just do this, it's just weak. The power is only coming from here. Maybe if I can bring it from the center, right? But if I'm turning my whole body, when I turn, right? My torso, this turning, right? This wheel makes a lot of power on the outside of it, right? So now, when I step back, if I make this circle, this wheel, and then I have this foot, I can sink underneath the thing and throw it. This is, by the way, this is sort of the basis for a judo throw, how to throw somebody over your arm, over your shoulder, just from using their arm. So stepping back. And then you can just think of it like turning a wheel. If you don't like to do martial arts, if you're not interested in Kung Fu, you can just simply make your hands, like we said, like the Tai Chi symbol. You know what the yin and yang looks like. The reason it's an S curve is because that's indicating motion. It indicates that one side is following the other. So if you just like to practice a pretty shape, that's okay. It's not Tai Chi Chuan, it's not the fist, it's not the boxing art, but it's good for your health, it's good for longevity, right? And you can open your meridians if you keep power to the right places. Horizontal split hands. So by the way, we say it's horizontal split hands because it's going this way, right? We're not splitting this way. If power is here, right? If I have something that's horizontal this way, is, let's see if I can balance it. Maybe not. Okay, so this is the feeling. It's horizontal split this way, so I can turn. That's where it's getting the name. So when we're here, You may see the most extreme. Remember, the shape of your Tai Chi form is dependent on what you like to achieve. Optimal Tai Chi is working with a circle, but for some people studying Xing Chuan, this is a heavy triangle, right? We have this very triangular shape. So you may see people doing horizontal split hands like this, right? As you advance, you get into the Bagua, this may become something here. So questions, thoughts, comments, ideas?
Brian, can you show that shape of the turn close to the camera more slowly?
What's that?
Can you show what the arms are doing?
Yeah, so I'm on a grid here and I'm going to turn 90 degrees. If power is coming towards me, the first thing I'm doing is raising my hands. Remember, the idea is if something is coming, maybe it's going to hit me, right? If it's moving very fast, I may just want to have my guard up. That way I don't get hit in my glasses, my preciously coiffed hair may get distorted. So I just want to have my hands up, right? But if from here, I can start to turn. And from here, this turning, so we go from like you're protecting your space, right? Like you have a baby or something precious that you're holding here. And so that protected space, once we move, if we've had to move, that means something or someone has tried to enter that space. And so if we become cornered, we have to turn. And so that turning is to make contact, to get control of the situation. And then the last part is to advance, which is to accelerate their power in that direction, right? So if this is coming towards me, if this is a punch or a stick that's coming towards my face or my head, right? The way I would apply horizontal split hands is the first thing I want to do is if it's here, is dangerous, can hit me in the face. So I want to avoid, I want to get out of the way and protect myself because maybe it's moving faster and I'd rather have a buffer than get hit in the temple, right? And then if it continues, after I've done the avoid and the power continues to travel in this direction, then I want to assist it along its way, right? If it's moving this way, bring it in and turn it, right? So this is just turning. If you have your stick, you can put one hand here, and just turn, turn, turn. If you don't have a stick, right, the same idea is you have one hand up, one hand down, turning, turning. So just like you're turning a wheel, something is entering, right? So catch, turn. And remember, we don't want to show the opponent first. So we don't want to have our hands facing out. If the person is attacking and we do this, well, then they're going to withdraw their attack. They're not going to step into our. So we want to, oh no, and then turn. And then once we have control, do the thing, right? We have just about a few minutes left. It says 4 or 5 minutes left. I want to close the same way we started with some Qigong. Before we do, does anyone have thoughts, questions? Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
You can talk about it. The second and the fourth of the fair ladies, the hula hoop hands.
Yeah, so for in the four corners, you're talking in the third section.
Yes.
You want let's actually practice that as our closing qigong, right? It's a way to do Tai Chi. That's what you want to practice, right? Is you want to see some details from that. The example that I used for that one, for the martial arts example, is a pretty strange one. I don't know how I invented this. It's weird. If you have a better idea, let me know. Imagine everyone knows what a car hood, right? It's like open over an engine. And imagine there's a car hood and it's going to close and there's something valuable, right? You left your sunglasses, the very expensive ones, for whatever reason, sitting on top of the carburetor. And so if the car hood closes, it's going to squash your sunglasses. And so if I'm standing there facing the car hood, my first thing is to try to, if it's closing, I want to try to catch it. And if I can get my fingers underneath it, the next thing I want to do is get my other arm to support it. So I'm holding it up with this side and then reaching in to take the thing that I want, right? And so we have this turning. One of the most basic, so rule of thumb is one hand is horizontal, the other one is vertical, right? You can use that for a rule of thumb, but you don't have to do it that way. When I do it, my hands usually end up both sort of at a 45, but this turn, there's another turning aspect too. So just imagine you have an imaginary, you can imagine something else too, a horizontal freezer, like you know, they have the giant storage freezers. And so imagine the lid is going to close and there's your favorite ice cream on the inside. The first thing is catch the lid. If you can catch the lid this way and reach inside and take the ice cream, it's good. But if it's heavy, when you catch the lid, you may have to support it with this side, and then you reach in to take the thing, right? To catch the thing that you want to get, right? That actually looks pretty good. But you can make the circles larger. So when you catch this, and then this other one comes up, and then pressing forward, right? The idea for this one is, imagine there's a person like this, they're standing here. We can move one hand and then move both hands, and then once those hands are out of the way, we can reach into the place where we want to press. So the feeling is, if the opponent is here and they have their arms doing this, is we move one, move the other, and press to the corner. It can be a press or it can be a push, right? What I just did was a press, which is a shocking power, but we can make the same thing happen. If it's here, we can step, and push it away, push the weight away, right? We use the rolling, sort of tumbling power to initiate getting underneath to send their power out, right? That looks right. But now keep, there may be a little bit of lean, but try to keep the same way when we do the X stepping, this center line stays vertical and upright. So when I step to do this, right, it's all very accurate. Yeah, that's better. It looks better, right? More upright. And yeah, Tika, the hands look, that's correct. So they're turning. So here's another, my teacher used to say, imagine you're throwing darts. And so he would say, you have you hold the dart by the point, and it has the feather here. You're going to throw it this way. And so we want to use the whole thing. So like you're bringing the power forward and then throw the darts. So you should feel this coil. The reason for mentioning this is this coil that goes up through the arms. And then when it uncoils, there's more power. Whether we want to use it, yeah, as a shocking kind of power, so that we don't have to make this large movement like this to do it. Later, that movement can become very small and become very shocking, right? And you can deliver a lot of force by turning here, right? That's that whole loop. But now, for now, imagine something much larger, right? Just so that we can see the large form and feel it. Imagine it's instead of a sports car, it's a Buick, and there's a giant hood, right? And you can catch it with your fingertips, but it's so heavy. So you put your forearm under it here, and then you can reach. And then to turn to the other direction, looking first. We want to try to keep everything straight. And then once I look, I'm going to step. So this is a step. And then here, I'm going to circle the arm. And the same thing, we can think of lifting with this side, supporting with the forearm, and then from my hip, my hand, and the power turning. So we have horizontal and vertical this way. If I look to the next corner, corner number 3, remember we have an avoid, so I'm going to bring my feet in, make contact. This hand is scooping underneath to lift up the hood or the ice cream scoop or whatever it is, the freezer lid. And then when we turn, press, horizontal, vertical, this way. And then the same thing, I'm going to look over my shoulder. I'm going to step here. This hand is going to reach all the way around and scoop underneath to lift. From the hip and the rear foot, press. So now to continue, we can make this continuous. Just like the other one, we close. This left hand is lifting up, and then we press. Looking 270, open, press, scoop, step, press, turn, press, breathing, Same long breathing that we started with, press to the corner. Okay, good. How do you feel? Lots of energy. All right, let's do this. Allow your feet to touch. Bring the head top to its highest point. When you bring your hands together in the center, let everything relax except the one point, this highest point, the crown chakra. Imagine that the energy for that is going up, and that everything else is hanging off of your body. If you have a favorite outfit or dress or wetsuit, as if it's hanging from the hanger, the only thing is weighted here. And pull it all the way up. So just the very base of the feet or the very base of the dress is touching the ground, the very base of your feet connected to the ground. Everything else, pull it all the way up. And then leave your eyes somewhere between open and closed and move your mind into the center, into the dantian. Take a second internally. You can turn the focus of your eyes, literally your literal pupils, looking at your center at the dantian, looking down past your nose, all the way to the center. Take a deep breath and smile to yourself. Internally, whether it's a whisper or a shout or however you like to do it, you can sing to yourself. Take a second to say thank you to yourself. Smiling internally to yourself. Take one long last deep breath. And that's it. If you have questions, you have thoughts, comments, you can email me, text me. Cool. Hopefully this recording works, and it should be online. The one from yesterday didn't go, so.
That was great. Thank
Cool.
you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Good.
Nice way to end the weekend. Bye.
All right. We'll see you.